Most parents that come to me want to know why their screen rules don't stick. They're good parents. They've done research. They've tried the methods that are documented in books. Parents will come into me and they'll talk to me about how they have tried everything in terms of screen time, and they've set rules and they just don't stick, no matter how hard they try. And I think that there's a very, very clear culprit in this widespread problem for many, many parents. The primary issue seems to be that this is a job that is actually much bigger than any of us really thinks. And that's exactly why we need to start small. Before we get to all of that, if you like this content and you're enjoying the videos that you've seen here, please like and subscribe. Also, I'd like you to do me one favor further. Tell a friend about it if you think that they're going to benefit, or if there's something here that they could find useful in their parenting journey. Yeah, you said rule, no cell phone at the dinner table and in the basket by 6 p.m. And it lasted for 3 days. And you know why? Because you did anything wrong or something went wrong with you. It's because you were sold the idea that this is a job that is simpler to do than it actually is. This job is actually more of a discovery process than anybody ever predicts that it'll be. You don't know yet, as you're starting to figure out the role of technology and screens in your family's life. You don't know where the pressure points are going to be for you. Knowing what's actually workable for you in a busy schedule that's full of stress. What are the buttons that are going to be pushed on you where you're going to get really frustrated and want to throw in the towel? Some of those things you do know, and some of those things you're yet to discover. And it's not until you set those rules that you find out how this actually works. Do not forget that you're usually not the only one who's doing the parenting, and you've got to coordinate this with somebody else who sees things exactly the way that you see them, and you agree on your approach, and you're both going to do it consistently. Have fun with that, right? Most books will hand you a finished product. This is what it should look like. This is how you're going to lay down these rules, and this is how you're going to follow through. And they don't let on that it's actually way bigger than any of that. Nobody tells you that fine print, that this is a lot bigger and emotionally involved than anybody actually can really appreciate. When they don't tell you that up front, you actually do what they tell you to do, and it's just too big to try to do all at once. So you're set up to fail. And more times than not, parents think that it's because there's something wrong with them or their family. And that's not it. The task is so big. It's exactly the reason why you don't try to do more in the beginning. You want to start small. You want to set one rule. This one rule is how you set off the discovery process without everything collapsing around it. You still have to figure out what incentivizes your kiddo, what sorts of things really, really drive you crazy, and the things that you and your spouse maybe have trouble talking about or agreeing on. We don't know these things, and so we want to carve out one rule, and that's the start of figuring it out. Whatever the rule is that you set, there's going to be pushback. Families like consistency. They like balance. And so when things change, people rebel. And so when you say no, the rule is no phones at dinner, you're going to get flack. You're going to get kickback. But here's the good news. That's short-lived, and it's usually the beginning of the end when you start to see that. I tell parents about this so they can prepare themselves and they don't think that it's as bad as it looks. At times it's really, really painful and upsetting, and it just feels like this is not working and it's causing more damage than it's doing good. And what happens? We give in. The reason why these things usually fall apart is because these rules die on really difficult days or hard nights, because it's a reflex to grab these devices. And it's been a tough day, give the kiddo a device and we can rest and we can catch our breath. We are in the habit ourselves of implementing these devices in ways that actually support the function of our family in the short term, to put it technically. And so we don't know exactly the limits of the reflex that we have, which is to go for the gadgets, to reach for them. We're going to do that unconsciously. So we have to discover when that happens and know that we're going to be able to set rules that we can have still enforce on those hard nights when we're just depleted. If you set a rule that you cannot enforce or follow through on those difficult nights, then we need to reconfigure it, make it smaller, more doable in some way. Pick one rule, one place that you're going to do this. You're going to have no tech in the rooms for the evening, or at a certain time, no tech at the table. Whatever that rule is, it's going to be plain and simple, and it's going to happen each day at the same time with the same routine. Set this so that you can enforce it on some of the most difficult nights, and that there's going to be kickback. Expect that it's going to be uncomfortable. We're going to treat this as a lab and a discovery process. And you're going to change as a result of it. You're going to be able to deal with things that maybe were difficult or stressful or painful previously, now in ways that you weren't able to before. But we have to allow ourselves the time to discover, and we have to allow ourselves time to learn how to cope with that and learn how to deal with our kids when they counter argue with us and so forth. We have to learn those things, and we have to give ourselves space and time. We cannot expect that we're going to read a book and follow some steps and be able to implement those cleanly in everyday life, where it's much more messy. The thing is, add another rule, only one when the one that you've already set becomes boring and doable and routine, and everybody's kind of forgotten about it. It's automatic. That's when you want to start to do another rule, okay? This is not about restricting your family life. It's about making room for family life that is outside of devices. And so the rules are geared towards increasing connection. If people are disappearing into their rooms for the evening, they're not talking with one another and so forth, and you want to increase that connection, that might be the next area that you want to focus on, where you start to limit tech in those rooms. Thanks for stopping by Raising Real Humans. I hope you like what you've seen and it's useful to you. If you do, hit like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you again real soon. This is Dr. Brian Rosino, and take good care.